Jeff Doyle here with X Marks the Buck, a New Hampshire hunting and fishing guide service. Now I've got a lot of questions since I've been doing my videos on YouTube about the gear I use. So what I'm going to do today is take you through the gear that I use for the whitetail season. Now I'm not affiliated with, and I don't promote any of the gear or the companies that I'm going to speak to about today. I will tell you what I like and what I don't like about them though. So without further ado, let's get started. First place to start when you're setting up for the New England woods in the season is a base layer. Now, we all know that cotton kills. Most people wear cotton underwear. I wear these poly underwear. They're made by X Offico. They are tremendous underwear. I've had them several seasons. They show no sign of wear. Put a lot of miles on them. They wash very easily. They dry very quickly, so you're not stuck wet. The other nice advantage is compared to some of the generic type brands, they don't give you a wedgie. From there, you have your next to skin layer. Now for my next to skin layer, I like wool. Some people prefer a synthetic material, but I like these smart wool, medium weight, long underwear. That's the bottoms, and here's the top. On most days, I prefer to wear this zip top here. It's got a zip neck on it, which when I'm climbing the mountain and I get overheated, I can unzip that quite a ways down, and that's going to let me cool down a bit. The great part about wool is if it gets damp or wet, it's still going to keep you warm. So if you do perspire going up the mountain, it's okay if you get a little wet, because with this, it's not going to zap the heat out of you. You're going to recover from it, and this dries pretty quickly on your skin as well. Now, the one downside to it is if you put a lot of miles on, you're going to begin to wear out the crotch of the pants. So I think mine will last me about 3 seasons or so, and then you'll end up with the hole in the crotch here. I keep these around as a backup pair, but for the most part, I'd say they're a very good product. Now the other consideration is sometimes that zip neck gets in the way when I have a lot of other layers on that have zip necks. So on really cold days, I might trade out the zip neck for a normal neck. But the downside to this is you can't open it up and cool down. That's my base layer, as well as my next to skin layer. The other thing that I put on my skin, I like these Smart Wool heavy socks. They give me cushioning as well as providing warmth. Now my feet tend to get cold, so one of the things I do is I put a little antiperspirant on before I go out for the day. And that keeps my feet dry for the most part. It's actually a tremendous difference, especially in these rubberized boots that don't allow your feet to breathe. But the benefit is no water gets in. So, wool socks. Now I'm going to go on to the other layers outside of the next to skin. Now, a lot of what I have here is Sitka products. I think that it's a wonderful product. I know there's other really good companies out there as well, and they probably make comparable materials. So one of the first things I'll talk about is up top. Up top, I usually wear this core zip neck full length shirt, and this is kind of a mesh breathing material. It's really lightweight. Sometimes I'll take my jacket off and just hunt in this. It's a great shirt. From there, I typically go right to my jacket. But if I'm on a really cold day, what I might use is this Traverse top. It's a real heavyweight polar type material, and it does keep you warm, but it's also going to get you overheated pretty quickly if you're walking a lot. So on the really cold days, I'll add this layer, but for the most part, I'm just using that core shirt and then my 90% jacket. 90% jacket is actually a great jacket. It's very durable, one. I've been through a lot of brush with this and it shows almost no sign of wear. The other thing is it's relatively waterproof and windproof, which keeps you warm. You can unzip it in the pits as well as these pockets, help cool yourself down, which is great. The one downside out of the newer version is the lack of a hood. Now, you can make up for it with some of the different balaclava caps or ball caps, but the truth is, I kind of miss, in the earlier version, they had a hood on here, which you could put in the pack, and if you got cold, maybe you wanted to sit down for a while, you could zip that hood on, and boy, that really kept you warm. So that's a feature that I miss from this. So to the bottoms. I was pretty surprised when Sitka came out. They used to have a mountain pant, and they came out with this ascent pant. And this ascent pant is really lightweight. It reminds me of, say, a woman's yoga wear. It's super stretchy. It's relatively abrasion resistant. These do show a little sign of wear, but I was surprised how warm it kept me. It also dries very quickly. If you do get a little moisture on your legs, I've used it in the snow as well as the rain. It's pretty superb product, and the nice part is you don't get overheated. My legs don't get cold all that often, so when I'm walking, it's nice to have a relatively light layer. I do have the mountain pant, and throughout most of the season I leave that home. I just stick with this ascent layer. And if you do get really hot, which I had before, you can strip down, take your wool layers off, and go right to this. Now, as far as the boots go, I like this Lacross Alpha Sport, I believe it is. It's got a pretty aggressive pattern on the lug. They're 18 inches, which provides me plenty of water resistance. I like to cross streams, still in the most narrow part, but you can get through the streams. I use them all year long, and although they run about $100 a pair, I have to replace them yearly. That's because in the back, if you reach down in them, I put so many miles on that I wear right through. There's a nice felt lining on the inside, but I wear through that right down to the rubber. And if I continue to wear them once I've worn down to the rubber layer, it's going to give me a blister on my heel. So some of the other more accessory parts that I put together here are my gloves. I like these real lightweight. These are actually Under Armour. They fit me perfect, which is great. They have a little grip on the hand, and I like to wear these if it's a cold day. Sometimes to keep the dexterity, I'll just double up another set of these, or if it's quite cold and I want to use a hand warmer, I'll slip on this Sitka Jetstream glove, and the two of them together work great. If it's somewhere in between, you can just go right to the Sitka Jetstream glove. The nice part about these is it gives you plenty of dexterity. For a hat, I like having a brim on my hat. I don't like going with just the nightcap. So a lot of times I'll put the brim on. You probably see me in the videos. Then I'll throw on one of these, either it's a lightweight core or the Traverse beanie right over top. And that gives me quite a bit of heat on the hat. I just roll it up so I can still hear. Now we'll check out what's over here. Some of the other things that stay home, they don't get as much use, but they're nice to have. I've got the Traverse bottoms as well. For some of the really cold days, say I'm not going to be moving around, I'm going to sit. Those are the mountain pants, which, as I said, don't get much use. But one of the things you do need is a good set of rain gear. And Sitka made this. It's a packable, I think it's called Gore-Tex Pack Light, packable rain gear. This also stays in the truck the majority of the time. That way, if conditions change as I'm headed to a particular spot, I can pack it. If I want to pack something, I usually pack the jacket. It's going to provide me wind resistance, water resistance, and it's a nice extra layer. I rarely pack the pants unless I know it's going to rain, just because it's extra weight, and a lot of times your legs aren't going to get wet where your top does. The downside of this is so lightweight, but it also makes a lot of noise. I found when I'm out in the woods though, there's rain dripping off the trees onto the leaves, you don't actually notice the noise. Now, on the really cold days, I've found an affinity for packing and wearing some of the Kelvin gear. Now, Kelvin gear is made of Permaloft material. It's like wearing a down jacket. You can get really heated up in this, but it takes a long time to get overheated, which I like, because it does breathe. This fits right under my 90% jacket. There's a set of pants I got to go with it, so if I want to hike in, sit down for a long period of time, this is great. Keeps you out there in the cold weather. I also like using these little bivy sacks, stuff it into, it packs down really small, and that keeps my pack well organized. Speaking of my pack, I've really grown to like the Sitka packs. I've had Badlands packs, fanny pack, backpack, and one of the gripes I always had was accessibility while I had the pack on. I do carry a GPS, as well as I like to carry a water bottle. I've got spots for that on either side. You've got these front pockets, which are actually on the waistband. They're really accessible, one-hand operation. It's great. Whereas in some of the other packs, you had to reach behind you, and sometimes you really couldn't get those zippers to work with one hand. That's one of the reasons I really like this. I usually keep a GPS in one, the camera in the other, so that way I get the camera out very quickly. Take some of that great video. So that's it for my gear. The next video I'll talk about what I actually put into my pack. And that way you get a sense of all the things you need, both to be prepared for the day in the woods, as well as maybe a night in the woods. If you've got any tips of your own, you can post them in the comments section. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking right here.